Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Crimes, Killers, Cults,
And beer.
and technical difficulties yet again.
Yeah, those two. Yeah.
We've got something that we're trying to bring you. This is the second week in a row that we've tried to get this done. It's a surprise, so we can't really tell you what it is, but once again, this is just the last minute, episode. But it's not going to be as spur of the moment as it was last week.
Right. What's not surprising is the fact that both of us had technical difficulties with podcasts today. Because I tried to edit an episode, and it took me the better part of 5.5 hours to edit what was recorded at an hour and a half, down to like an hour.
So let's just go ahead and jump in with this. We don't have a lot of ado, but it is late because we've spent the last hour trying to, work out this technical difficulties that we're having with this other two-part episode that's written, waiting to be done. And by the way, that this, as we record this artwork that you're seeing is not even 5 minutes old.
No, that's
I just
fresh.
Threw that together.
Hot off the presses.
Yeah, so God, and I love it. Came out perfectly. I mean, that was first shot. That was the first shot.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. All right, and I forgot to do this before, because it was so. When I do an old Florida story, I like to have an old Florida song. This is me doing a kind of punk version of the Florida state song. Way down yonder on the Swanee River.
1, 2, 3, 4. Way down upon the Swanee River, far, far away. That's where my heart is yearning together, home where the old folks stay. Hey!
Love that.
It's fantastic.
So I had done it for a different podcast that was supposed to come on, but I'm not going to get into that. But the collab never happened, so I'm like, you know what? Screw it. You guys don't want it? Fine, I'll use it.
It's mine anyway.
Yeah,
know?
exactly. I made it. So anyway, so we're redoing an old episode, and this was episode 12 originally. We're covering the John Ashley gang, and this episode did not feature. Todd wasn't on this one. He had some personal things come up, and they had to take care of, so I had to fill in. That episode's going to stay up because the girl that came in did a really good job, and it wouldn't be fair of us to take it down. But we're just going to redo it. So anyway, John Ashley gang, bank robbers and rum runners from South Florida back in the pre-Prohibition days up into Prohibition. This is one of those stories that should be every bit as known as stories like Bonnie and Clyde or Machine Gun Kelly and whatnot back from the time of Prohibition, because this was basically a South Florida mafia.
Oh, fantastic. This is going to be fun then.
Oh, it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun.
This is right up my alley when it comes to true crime stuff.
So I tried to get you to cover this one.
I have it on my list. It's just things have not worked out. Things have not worked out the way I wanted them to for this season, but it's coming to an end mercifully, and I can start fresh. But
this group has actually been called Florida's own Bonnie and Clyde, but that's kind of loose. It's a loose comparison.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally only called that because there's a couple involved, and well, put a knife in that. Something that happens at the end. But
my thing is people romanticize Bonnie and Clyde so much, and it's kind of gross because they weren't good people. They weren't. Yeah, they were. We get it. You guys were, bank robbers, and you were dating or whatever. You don't even have an interesting story.
Right.
You're just out killing people for no reason.
Well, this is an interesting story.
This
is a very interesting story.
And that's why I I don't think I will ever cover them because it's just not, not really an interesting story, unfortunately.
But it's called the John Ashley Gang, and The leader of the gang, obviously, is... Take a guess what his name is, maybe? Rico Suave. No, it's John Ashley, obviously. But
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
he's known as things like the Swamp Fox and the King of the Everglades.
See, it's interesting you brought up the Swamp Fox, because there's another guy that had that nickname
Oh, I
way
know.
before him. Yeah.
I know.
Well, Francis Marion.
Francis Marion, who the movie The Patriot was loosely based on.
Partially. It was him and another guy. Which was... Oh, son of a bitch. His last name was Rogers. Because they called his group Rogers Rangers.
Yeah.
They were... Made it miserable to be British and in South Carolina at the same time.
Yep. But this is Florida lore. And, you know, I would like to see this story be more mainstream. So they're the scariest bank robbers that you've never heard of. So between 1915 and 1924, they robbed over 40 banks in Florida, and they were kind of sloppy. They were kind of sloppy, which we'll get into. And the gang had quite a few lineup changes, and here on CKCB, I know all about that.
They're like the Spinal Tap of bank robbers.
Yeah, yeah, actually. But
Where's the drummer? He's vanished. He's just a puddle of goo on the stool.
He's here He's here now. He's here now. He's here with us now.
Yeah.
But nobody said they were smart. I mean, they got away with 40 bank robberies, though. So, they knew how to rob banks, I guess. But they had a system, which we'll get to. So put a knife in that.
Consider it done.
One Florida official actually said that they were the greatest threat to the state since the Seminole Indian Wars, and that's saying a lot because there's a lot of people that were killed during the Seminole Indian Wars. A lot more.
There was a couple.
Lot more than the body count that the Ashley gang had wrapped up.
And definitely more than the human Bigfoot war that took place in Florida as well, which is a real thing. I did an episode about it.
You did?
Yeah.
I have to listen to that. Is it on History again?
Oh no, it was Dark Windows. It was a lifetime ago.
I might know about it. That other podcast I was talking about I'm pretty sure they've done an episode on it too. But
definitely something I would consider covering again at some point. But
okay,
yeah, just a wild ass story.
But they would hold deep-seated grudges, and it was basically like if you did them any type of wrong, you better watch your back for the rest of your life because they're not going to stop until they've had their revenge. I mean, they're gonna get you.
Yep.
Even the good Ashley kid. There was a good Ashley boy. He wasn't even part of the gang, but he got his revenge on somebody too, and we'll get to that. So put a knife in that. Lots of knives here.
Just runs in the family, you know.
Yes. So the gang's father, Joe Ashley, he moved to West Palm Beach in 1911 with his wife, Regina Clay Ashley. He also served as a police officer, ironically enough. He also helped out with the building of Henry Flagler's Railroad, which is still in operation today. It's known now as the Florida East Coast Railroad that runs up and down Florida's East Coast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I actually went across that railroad today and yesterday.
And about 30 times also this week, I would imagine.
And, well, a couple of times. He was also a world-class moonshiner who was making that sweet Okeechobee whiskey.
Hell yeah.
That's what it's called down there. That's what they call their moonshine. Okeechobee whiskey.
Yeah, that makes sense because they're just like chilling out in the swamp, you know?
Yeah. There's a band that's royalty down here called Stranger, and they had a song called Okeechobee Whiskey. You can find them they're called Stranger, and you can find them on Spotify or anything like that, you know. So
You gotta be on YouTube too, I would imagine.
I don't know about YouTube, but Spotify and all that other stuff, yeah. But old Joe Ashley was a former backwoodsman. He had 9 children, and he had 5 sons: Bill, Bob, Ed, Frank, and John.
Oh, I see how it is. There's a bill. Of course there is.
Of course, there. But he taught them how to trap otters and alligators in the Everglades. And otter pelts back then was big money.
Otters and beavers, believe it or not. And there was actually you could call it a war up in Canada at one point in time that almost put the North American beaver extinct because of like French fur traders and stuff.
Just like the buffalo. I mean,
Yep.
the otters were beaten back pretty badly then because but they've rebounded. You see otters everywhere down here now.
Yeah. We'll see them occasionally up here. It's very, very rare to see one, but you'll once in a while find one.
Yeah, I see them a lot. But they knew the Everglades as well as the Seminole Indian tribes did. And if you don't know much about the Everglades, if you don't know the land out there, you could get lost and never be seen again.
Oh, for sure.
That the Everglades will chew you up and swallow you. They're not going to spit you out because you'll just never be seen again. There's boars, there's alligators, and everything looks alike too, so it's easy to get lost. I mean, the landmarks out there are hard. Everything looks identical. You've got to know that land.
I can't remember the name of the show. I watched it was like a reenactment of something. It was in one of the swamps in Florida, and these guys like get off a boat and they're like run into this dude that just like lives in the swamp. They're like, hey, how do we get back to wherever they were coming from? And he's like, you get back in your boat and you go the way you came. Like, yeah,
yeah,
that's.
But it can be pretty hard to find out the way you came because everything looks the same. There's stream beds that go through all the Florida, the water plant, the aquatic plant life and everything that goes through there. Then you get into the trees, palm trees, oak trees, and all. Just everything looks the same.
It gets awful hairy awful quick.
Yeah. But the Florida East Coast rail system was like a mafia on its own. Yeah. Henry Flagler, everyone from him all the way down to just a little old crewman or whatever, they were corrupt and basically dealing out the construction deeds to the highest bidder and then taking their takes.
Yep.
Especially because the government was paying for part of this.
Yeah, back in this time frame, if you wanted corruption, you went to the railroad or mining, like coal companies, like mining companies. Woo. Just corrupt to the teeth.
Sheriff George Baker was also corrupt, and he would actually give out to the people that were greasing his pocket, and people liked greasing his pocket for some reason. Sheriff Baker and his deputy son Robert Baker, who later takes over as sheriff, that's how corrupt they at that time. They didn't even have elections for sheriff, so Sheriff Baker Sr. retired, and then his son became the sheriff later. Yeah.
The family business.
Family business. But now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. In January of 1912, John Ashley was accused of murdering a Seminole Indian trapper named DeSoto Tiger.
That sounds like an 80s hair metal band.
It does, kind of.
Like they opened for Steel Panther,
Yeah, DeSoto Tiger. The B-list band. Now, DeSoto Tiger. DeSoto is the name of a county in southwest Florida, named after Fernando de Soto, a Spanish conquistador.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, there's a fort over in near St. Petersburg on Tampa Bay called Fort de Soto.
They also old-timey car company.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he was the son of Tommy Tiger, who was the chief of the Cow Creek Seminoles, and he was also a veteran of the Third Seminole Indian War.
Tommy Tiger is the mascot on the Kroger brand Frosted Flakes.
Is he really?
Okay.
Is he really?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, or Aldi or something like that.
Right?
Because all these...
They're passable.
Yeah. Tommy Tiger.
Oh, fuck, that's great.
DeSoto's body was discovered on December 29th, 1911 by a dredging crew. The dredging crew, they were developing the new river canal from Fort Lauderdale to Lake Okeechobee. And if you're unfamiliar with the area, if you are familiar with the area, that's the canal that runs right by Highway 27. And I've driven by that canal many, 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 many times. And I'm pretty sure that I've probably driven by the exact spot where DeSoto Tiger's body was found.
That wouldn't surprise me a bit.
No. But DeSoto Tiger was shot in the back, and he was last seen alive with John Ashley in a canoe full of otter pelts.
Nothing suspicious going on here.
Not at all. DeSoto Tiger had a receipt on him for the skins that he had sold. So basically, John killed DeSoto and robbed him of the money that he had just gotten for the otter pelts.
What a dick.
Yeah. Corrupt Sheriff George Baker dispatched 2 deputies to arrest John. But as they approached, a voice came out from behind. It said, "Hold it right there, boys. Put down them rifles. Put your hands up there. Move real easy." The voice was Bob Ashley. The cops slowly entered the clearing to see the brothers John and Bob sitting by a fire.
Just hanging out with a priest.
But oh damn, yeah. John and Bob were sitting by a fire. John then said, I'm gonna let you go because I want you to deliver a message. You tell that sheriff not to send any more chicken-hearted men with rifles or they're apt to get hurt.
Chicken-hearted. Damn.
Chicken-hearted.
That
had to have been the predecessor to my favorite word, chucklehead.
See, I would have thought calling somebody chicken-hearted would have been the predecessor to being like, this, don't you send another man out here that could be considered a pussy.
Or chicken shit.
Yeah, that too. Because I'll make chicken soup out of him. I've done it before, and I'll do it again.
You know what? I bet that when it actually happened, it was chicken shit. But they just in the articles they just read the.
Oh yeah,
they just called it chicken hearted.
Yeah, because this is back in the time like you can't cuss in the newspaper. You'll give somebody the vapors. You know.
Yeah,
oh my heavens, they swore.
Yeah, he said
read the newspaper.
He said chicken. He said chicken shit.
My word. What vulgarity is this? My
vulgarity
newspaper.
The cops took off with their tails between their legs, and as a result, John's photo was posted in every South Florida post office. He couldn't go anywhere without being recognized, so he took off to take a guess where.
Florida.
No, he leaves Florida.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He would have gone to either, I don't know, like Georgia or Louisiana.
You got the state right on one of them.
Georgia.
No,
Louisiana.
Yeah, we're at in Louisiana.
I forgot he's swamp people. Yeah, that would make sense. Going to Louisiana instead.
Right. I'll give you a. Yeah.
Going to New Orleans.
I'll give you that one. Yeah, he took off to New Orleans. And now, no criminal just leaves their safe haven unless they've gotten into something at said safe haven and was in over their head.
Yeah.
Especially if they have murder charges for them waiting for them back home.
Right. But this is also back in the day where you could just change your name and everybody believed you. You know.
True. Why didn't John think about that? Like I said, nobody accused him.
Might not have been smart. I don't know.
But all I could find is he was arrested in New Orleans once for petty theft, vagrancy, and disorderly conduct. But still, this shows that John could function on his own. Because let's be real here. That's not why you hightailed it back to Florida. Not for that little charge. He had to have gotten into some hot water.
Oh yeah. And you don't just go to a different state and stop being a criminal. You know.
Right. He probably killed somebody important there and just maybe more important than a Seminole Indian. And
Yeah, either that or he got into
he killed a prominent white man, more than likely. That's my
yes,
guess.
yeah. You gotta be specific. We're at this time period in history
Yeah.
because, there was some people you could just get away with killing because they didn't care because the cops were doing it themselves.
Put a knife in that.
What? Foreshadowing?
But while there, though, because he went to New Orleans, he also likely learned about smuggling due to the port, which was already a major U.S. port at the time.
And New Orleans was a giant
it
hub
was probably
for pirates.
But it was probably not only that; it was probably next to maybe Boston and Philadelphia. It was probably the biggest harbor, or in New York. It was probably the biggest harbor in the United States. It was definitely the biggest harbor in the South. Well,
Yeah,
Charleston.
yeah,
Charleston.
It would have been probably like top 5 in the country.
Yeah. Actually,
Because
it was
you would have had Boston, New York, maybe New Jersey.
Well,
Because
that's
I know
New York.
Jersey's huge for ports now.
Now they are.
Um,
Charleston. You got to put
Yeah,
Charleston in
Charleston,
the mix. But or Savannah. Well, Savannah was huge back then too.
I always forget Savannah's on the coast.
Yeah, Savannah at that time was probably a lot bigger than maybe even Charleston, because Savannah was spared. If you remember, Savannah was spared by Sherman.
Yeah.
So it was undamaged. So it was more than likely, Savannah and New Orleans were probably the biggest ports in the South because they probably left New Orleans, because it was a major artery at the time.
Yeah, and we hadn't fought New Orleans since 1812
Right.
when they followed Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi.
And they fired their guns, and the British kept it coming.
Yep.
There was
Took a little bacon. They took a little
many-
beans.
Yeah.
Fought the bloody English. Fought the bloody British in the town of New Orleans. Anyway,
But
I grew up listening to that shit, and people are like, "Why are you such a dork for history?" I don't know. Ask my grandmother.
if History Goon podcast doesn't work out for you, you should start another one called History Dork. He's like, damn it! I wish I had thought of that first.
Actually, I hit one in my edit today where I was like, because I had to go back through and like do something while I was editing because I was like, oh, I screwed that up. I was like, well, I've got a little bit of a revisionist history, and I went, oh, that's good. Damn it! So that'll just be my Patreon stuff.
But he also learned about smuggling. Like you said, pirates and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have also pissed off a pirate in New Orleans too.
What year is this?
This is 1916, 1912.
The pirate scene would have kind of, like what we think of as pirates, like that whole pirate
No,
scene
but
would
there
have.
was. There's still pirates now, so there were still pilots then. Pilots,
Right, but
Pirates then.
It would have that style of pirate would have petered out by then.
But
This
there
would have
was
been more like
Smugglers.
the bootlegger pirates,
Yeah.
not the fun ones.
Yeah. But so yeah, he had already, so he probably learned a lot about smuggling while he was in New Orleans. So put a knife in that. Lots of knives in this episode. This may set a record for knives in this episode.
I'm gonna run out of goddamn knives.
I'll never run out of knives.
Like if I have to email you knives, I can. I got a bunch.
Okay. But before I forget, the sheriff's son, Robert Baker, he and John Ashley were actually high school classmates and childhood friends, so put a knife in that, too.
Makes sense. A corrupt cop that's friends with a criminal? No fucking way.
Well, yeah, but still, that's not why we put the knife in that one.
Oh.
So the trial for DeSoto Tiger was set for July of 1914. Many of the people who lived in South Florida at the time, they didn't like the influx of transplants. Rich people that the railroad was bringing in. Most of the locals either respected or feared John Ashley, and that's specifically why he decided to take his chance in court. It's like, we don't like the all the upper class people and whatnot. So we're gonna.
Yeah.
So I'll just take my chances. Which also, if he's willing to take his chances like that, especially because of what's about to happen next, he got into some deep shit in New Orleans.
Yeah, and and if he's representing himself, which I don't know if he is or not, that's another giant sign of.
It couldn't say. Probably because he wound up in prison a lot.
Your Honor, I would like to represent myself. Are you sure?
Okay.
Again?
But the Palm Beach prosecutor knew this, and he petitioned to change the venue location to Miami. They might know of him in Miami, but they don't care about him. He's not a local folk hero like he was in West Palm.
So you're going to get a much less biased jury.
And that is bad news for old John Ashley. Yeah, he's not a local folk hero like he was back then. I already said that. Back then, West Palm Beach, what was called West Palm Beach, was much than what it is now. Because back then, it ran from Fort Lauderdale all the way north to what is now Indian River County, and we're talking about, driving on a highway is going to take you about, 2.5 hours to get there.
Oh, so that's a minute away.
Yeah. But now it goes from Palm Beach County to Martin County to St. Lucie County and then Indian River County. So there's 3 counties in between. There's 3 counties that are there now that weren't there before.
Oh, okay.
But as John was being transferred to Miami, he distracted the guards, jumped the fence, and disappeared into the Everglades.
Oh my God. I love when you can just, back in the day where you'd be like, look, over there, and guards are like, oh. You just, fucking escape into the night.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Oh, something shiny. What?
Or, stories of all these guys that broke out of chain gangs, and you're like, how? Yeah. You're literally chained to another human being, and you guys somehow, cooperated enough to... It's insane. It makes me crazy.
Now, there in the swamp, the Ashley gang came to be. It was John, his father Joe, Bob, Frank, Ed, nephew Hanford Mobley, plus a Chicago bank robber named Kid Lowe.
How's that last name spelled?
L-O-W-E.
Is it L-O-E-W? What's that?
L-O-W-E or L-E... I don't know.
Huh. That name rang a bell for some reason with me.
Well, well, hold on. Let me tell you this, and then we'll see if it rings a bell, because I'd like more information on Kid Lowe.
Okay.
There's no information on exactly how they met up with Kid Lowe and what Kid Lowe was doing. He was probably in Miami because, he was running from the Chicago Police Department for robbing banks. I mean, that'd be my guess. But, so, I mean, he's obviously a Chicago mobster who came down to Florida. And this could have led to a dick measuring contest later between Lowe and John, but put a knife in that. But at the same time, he obviously had much more knowledge of organized crime, which would have been why he would have been attractive to John to have, in his gang.
Right.
Now, he may have been involved with Al Capone, but Al Capone was originally from New York, and then he went to Chicago for a little while, but then he wanted to get out of there, so he paid Clarence Bush of Anheuser-Busch $40,000 for a 10,000 square foot home in Palm Island, Florida, to try and get away from Chicago. Bootlegging is really popular at this point, and maybe Kid Lowe was peddling for Al Capone, and at one time Capone says, you know what, maybe I'll just send some people down to Florida to check the place out before I move my whole frickin', empire down there.
And, funny story you mentioned with Anheuser-Busch. Mm-hmm. So they own the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team.
Yes.
When they first built the stadium, I believe it was back in the 30s or 40s. So it was right after Prohibition, when alcohol was still a little iffy. Mm-hmm. They wanted to name it Budweiser Stadium because that's what the company was called. and then they were told by like the powers to be, you can't name it after a beer. So they went, okay, fine, and they changed the name of the company to Anheuser-Busch and named it Busch Stadium because they couldn't name it after their beer.
Shit, now you've got, Coors Stadium, or you got...
Hey, now you've got stadiums sponsored by gambling and betting companies where if you play the sport and you bet on yourself, you will get kicked out of it.
Yep.
Which is wild.
That is. But
Pete Rose is rolling in his fucking grave knowing that he didn't get into the Hall of Fame because he bet on his team to win, and then,
But, so maybe Lowe was one of the people that ended up going down there, but that's purely speculation because nobody really knows. Or maybe Kid Lowe went down to Florida because it's a coastal state and he wanted to get his business going as well. Maybe he wanted to start up a family of his own. But he ran into the Ashleys, got in with them, possibly with the intention of taking over, and this gels with the little spat that comes later. And I'm not going to say put a knife in that because I already did. So no knife on that one.
So many knives.
February of 1915, the Ashley gang targeted a Florida East Coast train near Stewart, where they were unsuccessful in robbing it. February 23rd, they robbed a bank. They robbed the bank of Stewart, and they got $4,200, which back then was a lot of money.
Good money, yeah.
But during the getaway, a firefight broke out, and Kid Lowe was a lot of things, but one thing that he wasn't was a good shot. He fired a shot at a cop, and it ricocheted and hit John, blinding his right eye.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Some people, now there's actually argument on this, debating on what happened. Some people say that Kid Lowe was actually trying to kill John because he wanted to take over the gang.
Yeah, I would lean towards that, honestly.
Yeah. But either way, Kid Lowe missed.
Jesus.
So 3 hours later, a posse that was set up by the sheriff captured John and brought him down to Miami to stand trial for the murder of DeSoto Tiger.
Okay.
On June 2nd, 1915, Bob Ashley tried to break John out of jail. And Bob shot and killed Deputy Wilbur Hendrickson, and then he grabbed the deputy's keys, but he dropped them when Hendrickson's wife picked up a rifle and pointed it at him.
Oh my God. Just shoot him, lady. He just shot your husband. Kill him.
Fucking tough-toning him. But remember, he was the one telling cops earlier, "Don't you send no chicken-hearted cops down here."
Yeah.
Oh wait, that was John, but still, it was Bob that spoke out first.
But it's something about John and Joe being a combination in bootlegging, which is a very strange thing, except the more famous one, the son became a president, so... Not a lot of people know about the whole Kennedy bootlegging thing, but yeah, that's where they got all their money from, was Old Man Joe was a bootlegger, like big time.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
But, so Bob dropped the gun and ran. And I guess maybe he didn't want to shoot a woman, or maybe this was just a little bit of a show. But so he bolted and he hijacked a delivery truck, and he was confronted by Miami police officer Reinhard Riblet.
Good thing he wasn't Irish. Reinhard McRiblet. The McRiblet has returned. So this Italian cop catches him.
So Riblet was the first Miami police officer that was killed in the line of duty. So needless to say, the people of Miami were pissed because remember, they don't know, they don't have this, they don't like John the way the people up in Palm Beach do.
Right.
So John's lawyer, this is fucked up. John's lawyer got the state of Florida to drop the the DeSoto murder charges completely if he went peacefully back to West Palm Beach to be tried for the Stewart bank robbery.
Yeah. Let's charge him for something that matters, not this guy that nobody cares about, you know.
Yeah. So
What's his name? Oh, he sounds like an Indian. We don't need to worry about him. That's fine. We killed a bunch of them, so who cares? One more.
Yeah. It's okay. The Seminole Indians got shit on by the American people back then, and meanwhile, it's okay. It looks like...
Wait a minute. Indians got treated badly? I've never heard him complain about that before. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. But they're going to try and get John Ashley for the murder of DeSoto Tiger at first, and decide at this point, DeSoto Tiger's family's got to be feeling pretty good. But all of a sudden, hey, we'll forget about you killing that Injun if you come back and stand trial for robbing the bank.
Right? Yeah.
You got the money still, right?
He robbed a bank? Yeah, that's pretty bad. He killed an Indian? Mistakes happen. We'll give the family a casino or something. They'll be fine. Or is that just up here? I don't know if you guys have those down that way.
The Seminole Indian tribe has several huge casinos in Florida. 2 of them have Hard Rock cafes attached to them. In fact,
you have, up here we have Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods in Connecticut, which
the Hard Rock Hotel with the huge guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Down there in Fort Lauderdale or Miami Gardens. That is on Seminole land.
Oh, no shit. Didn't know that.
There's at least 2 other huge Seminole Indian casinos down there in the Miami area that I know of.
Damn.
I know there's a Hard Rock in Tampa as well. That casino is also owned by the Seminoles. And there's another one in Tampa as well that I think is owned by Seminole Indians, but I'm not sure. So yeah. That is definitely a thing here, but
I can't remember what the show was. There was a joke made about Native Americans losing all their land, and they're like, "It's fine. They're taking our money 1 nickel at a time or something like that." I was like, "Oh fuck, that's terrible," but it's kind of funny at the same time.
I'm sure that lots of hands were greased in order to get him taken from Miami and then back to Stewart, especially since the DeSoto murder charge carried the death penalty and robbing the bank didn't.
Yeah, but again, like I said, at the same time, one's money, one is somebody that the federal government doesn't necessarily give a wet fart about.
Right.
You know?
He's going to turn out to be a flight risk, so it might have been better to have him. If they really wanted him gone and dealt with, they would have just left him on trial for the murder of DeSoto Tiger for the death penalty, because this guy, that way he would have been under, more, stricter. It would have been a lot harder for him to escape.
Right, but at the same time, this is a time period when people would have probably looked a little bit more, they probably would have been a little bit less bothered by the fact that he killed an Indian than the fact that he robbed a bank.
Maybe, but still, murder carried death penalty back then. But
it's hard to look at
in
stuff
the Old
like
West,
that through.
In the Old West, through 2026 goggles.
Yeah,
but at that point, John was known as the King of the Everglades.
Nice.
He had been named by the people who lived in West Palm. He pled guilty to the bank robbery charges, and he was sentenced to 17 years in Rayford Prison, which was 300 miles north of West Palm. It's like the middle of the state, northeast of Gainesville. And we're going to come back to Rayford. But while in Rayford, he was given a glass eye.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But there he faked being good, good behavior, and he was assigned to work on a road crew.
Oh, God, I called it, didn't I?
You did.
This fucking guy's gonna just, I hate when I'm right about stuff.
Makes me think you might have this pulled up, and that you're kind of reading along.
I promise you I don't. I'm very familiar with the incompetence of police.
But he distracted the guards and escaped and just went toodaloo.
Oh my god.
So then he went back to robbing banks, and of course he did.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do? It's his only discernible skill.
Well, I won't say put a knife in that because we're there now. Prohibition began on January 17th of 1920, and at that point, the gang, on top of doing bank robberies, also became rum runners.
Ah, yes.
So they're bootlegging. They're in addition to operating the moonshine stills and making that sweet Okeechobee whiskey, they're now shipping it. And This is all in the north end of Palm Beach County. They were running liquor stores. They were running liquor from British warehouses. So whereas Capone was getting his stuff from Canada, the Ashleys were importing it from England and the Bahamas. They had warehouses in Weston, Bimini, and the Bahamas, and they would bring it in at night through Jupiter Inlet and bring it into Stewart. So a lot happens at this point in John Ashley's life. Sheriff George Baker retires, and Robert Baker, his son, becomes a sheriff. And the Ashleys were getting frickin' rich from their bank robberies and by running liquor and everything during Prohibition. And it was also during that time when John met the love of his life, who was dubbed the Queen of the Everglades, Laura Beatrice Up the Grove.
Up the what?
Up the Grove.
Oh, okay.
That's the name. Grove. That was. And in fact, this isn't just some random person, because on the north end of Lake Okeechobee, there's an Up the Grove beach, and it's named after the family.
Oh, so they've got some pull somewhere.
Yeah. But she was 23, and she had 4 kids, and she had already been married twice.
Oh, jeez.
She was round.
How old was he, though?
I should have freaking looked at that. Hold on. ADD break. All right, he was born in 1888, and this is 1920, so he is 32, and she is 23.
Yeah.
With 4 kids.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot. But I mean,
right.
It's the early 1900s. 4 kids at that age is pretty normal.
Right, but she was round.
Round.
I've actually seen a picture of her.
Pretty close to the artwork we had at the beginning.
No, not really. She had squinty brown eyes, dark hair. She had a deep tan, and she wore a 38 around her waist. She a badass bitch, and I just gotta say, she isn't as large as she's portrayed in that in the artwork picture.
Ah, okay.
So, but she loved John very deeply, and she started casing banks for the gang to rob. And,
oh, what a sweetheart!
Yeah, she also had knowledge of pending raids on their moonshine stills and their hideouts. Ask me how.
How?
During her teenage years, and right up to the point to where she met John, she was in and out of jail all the time, just for minor crimes like robberies and stuff like that. But she always managed to get released. Ask me how.
I wonder how.
The person who was sheriff at the time was Robert Baker. And prior to him becoming sheriff, he was in charge of the jail. So
she's banging guards.
Yeah, so there's a pretty good chance that the feud between John Ashley and Robert Baker went a little bit deeper than just criminal versus cop, because why?
Because they were Eskimo brothers.
Let's just say that she used her up the grove to get out of jail.
I knew it.
old Robert has some carnal knowledge of Laura, and John didn't take kindly to that.
You son of a bitch!
How?
You done slept with my woman?
Yeah, this threatened John's manhood, and it probably added fuel to the fire. And nothing upsets a man more than someone else messing around with his woman before he even met her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What about I wonder if one of those 4 kids was Robert's.
Oh God, I hope not.
So in 1921, John was arrested delivering liquor in Wauchula, 70 miles southeast of Tampa. It's over there south of Sarasota on U.S. Highway 17. And this town comes up in the Bone Mazel episode 2. And I've driven through Wauchula hundreds of times. So he was sent back to Rayford Prison, and the next part of this is likely legend, and this is just me speculating. But the legend and lore goes that while John was in prison, he had a dream that his brothers Ed and Frank were killed at sea. And he supposedly wrote to his father, Joe, about the dream that he had. And the father, Joe, he showed up at the prison to visit John, telling him that Frank and Ed had disappeared because they had not returned from Bimini and they were never seen or heard from again.
You ain't gonna believe this shit.
Yeah, right. You ain't gonna believe this shit, Paul.
I had a dream about that.
I had a dream about that exact damn thing, and it was weird.
I'll be a son of a bitch.
So supposedly in his dream he saw the guys that killed them, and they were rum runners that worked for him, or that they were their competing rum runners, Alton Davis, Bo Stokes, and Jim White. And John had them offed from prison.
Jesus.
He's still running things from prison, just like mobsters today.
Yep.
I don't think he had that dream vision, obviously.
Yeah, it seems a little odd.
I think it's probably just, like you were saying, Dad came there and told him the news, and he said, well, Paul, you ain't gonna, like you said, you ain't gonna believe this. But what I know, he might have been a clairvoyant.
Yeah, right. We give him a little bit of credit, just a little, not a bunch.
Right. So at this point, Bob, Ed, and Frank are all dead. John's in prison. And at this point, the gang was being run by his father, Joe, also Clarence Middleton, Ray Shorty Lynn, Roy Matthews, Hanford Mobley, and Laura Upthegrove, along with her brother, Joe Tracy, and, of course, Kid Lowe.
Mm-hmm.
May 12th, 1922, the Ashley gang hit the Bank of Stewart again. And later in September, John escaped from prison, yet again. And with him back in the mix, they began hitting South Florida banks hard and often. A whole bunch of them at once, and then they would hit, and then they'd just disappear into the Everglades.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do? How are you going to find them?
You're not, because back then you can't really track people all that well.
Should it be hard?
And the one guy that could have tracked him, he killed at the beginning. So
foreshadowing.
Exactly. Exactly.
But at that point, Sheriff Baker declared war on the Ashleys.
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I thought you were going to tell me to say it again. I was waiting. Early morning on January 9th, 1924, Sheriff Baker and a large posse attacked their camp 2 miles from the Bakers, 2 miles from the Ashleys' actual home. They were armed with weapons that they had borrowed from the National Guard.
The sheriffs? Or the bad guys?
The police, and the posse.
That makes sense. And I was like, why the fuck would the National Guard be like, nah,
but what else
you
does
boys
it
can
tell
have
you?
these?
What else does it tell you?
Oh, it means that like they had some actual backing. Like the governor had to have been involved at some point to get the National Guard to
I
give
don't
them
know
shit.
about that. It says that they borrowed the weapons, not the. I mean, it tells me that this is extremely personal with Sheriff Baker.
Oh, absolutely.
Because why not just have the governor order the National Guard to handle the Ashleys?
Because, I mean, it's not really a military kind of thing. That's still law enforcement. But if we can get guns, I see where you're coming from, though, for sure.
Well, the National Guard is sent out to dispel riots and stuff nowadays. So,
yeah, that's not a normal thing, though.
I'm not talking about ICE. I'm talking about like.
Oh no, I'm saying like the National Guard being sent out. That's a fairly new thing. Like unless it was an active, like the LA riots and stuff for the first time that I really
that's what I'm talking
remember
about.
it being a thing.
That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean they just wanted the big guns so they could go after the Ashleys by themselves.
Yeah, they want the glory.
Yeah. But so during the fight, Joe was shot in the head.
Ooh.
Take a guess
Not
why.
great. Why?
Yeah, just think of one of the stupidest things you could do during a gunfight.
I mean, he probably stood straight up from behind cover or something.
No.
No.
He was tying his shoes.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
I mean, it was like,
Hey, hold on. Hold my shoes here for me. My shoelace is untied. Hold my gun. Hold on. Let me
I need a second.
Let me get my shoes untied. Hold on. Just cover me for a minute, guys.
Him.
Come on, damn it. I mean, my shoe. Damn it. I can't quite reach it. Oh,
Yeah.
Paul? Paul?
The other one, I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. It was somebody during the Civil War. Some lieutenant, like a general or a lieutenant or something, told his men, like, don't worry, you can stand up and run from here. They can't hit anything from that distance. And he stood up and immediately got shot in the face. And his guys were like, no, I guess we're not doing that. Fuck that noise.
But, oh my God. If you're in a fierce gun battle, tie your shoe. Make sure your shoe's tied before or tie it later.
Take them off. Get comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, you're in the swamp. I mean, you step in a fire ant bed.
Yeah.
But you got
goddamn
you got to
jungle foot
double
or whatever
knot
they
those
call it.
things. You got to double knot those things.
Yeah.
Get ready for war. Double knot your damn shoes.
Yep. Velcro.
Velcro. Yeah.
Be a real old man about it.
Can you imagine if one of Patton's soldiers said, "Hold on, sir. I got to tie my boot." He'd be cleaning.
Pat would have beat his ass.
Yeah, and he'd be cleaning the bathroom with a toothbrush. His toothbrush.
He'd
own
be
toothbrush.
eating his boots after he tied them.
Yeah. So John saw this happen, and he shot the officer who had killed Joe, and it was Deputy Fred Baker, Robert Baker's cousin.
Aha.
So Laura Up the Grove was hit with shotgun pellets.
Ouch.
Yeah. She was shot in the buttocks.
Oh, okay. I got the wrong grove, apparently. I was like, oh, that's not a great place to get shot at all.
It didn't specify which grove. It could be one or the other. Oh, man. But she screamed, and that scream distracted the posse, allowing the gang to slip away.
For fuck's sake.
Get them! Get
Oh,
them!
my God. This is just
But she's hurting my
Pure-
ears, boss. She's hurting my ears.
pure buffoonery. It's just incredible.
The locals were pissed off at this point because after Deputy Baker had been killed, a posse burned down the houses of the known Ashley gang members.
Show them.
Later in 1924, the Ashleys robbed the Bank of Pompano and got $5,000 there, then $18,000 in securities.
Jesus.
John left a bullet with the bank teller, telling her to give it to Sheriff Bob and to tell him that he's got another one just like it waiting for him if he was man enough to come get it.
Next one's going to be a whole hell of a lot faster, I can promise.
Yeah. Baker responded publicly. He predicted that he would wear John Ashley's glass eye as his watch fob.
That's amazing. I love these old-timey feuds like this. They're so fun.
Oh, yeah. The blood feud had reached its boiling point, but John was humiliating Baker, and the press was eating it up. And no jail could hold John, so that's what the media just ran with. He killed a cop, but the police can't do anything about it.
Phew. That is not a good place to be.
But what do you think would be the definitive factor in ending this?
I think the lady.
No.
No?
Money.
Oh, okay, yeah. Money's pretty important, too.
Yeah, but it was money. I mean, business was booming at that point because of the success of the railroad, and you've got a crazy gang robbing banks. That's just bad for business.
Yeah, that's true.
So Sheriff Baker and a posse invaded the Everglades, and they destroyed everything that they could find that belonged to the gang or that they thought belonged to the gang. Their stills, hideouts, houses, everything. Ashley then relocated the gang to Jacksonville, about 275 miles north, and hid out there with his sister Daisy. Daisy Ashley. Now, I think that the person who wrote this article that I used might have a thing for Daisy, because in this article it says that John Ashley went to Jacksonville to hide out with his gorgeous sister Daisy.
Oh, God.
I didn't see any pictures of Daisy, but still, that's just kind of odd for a newspaper article to put in a physical description like that.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, they're just trying
like,
to...
oh, no, his sister's hot.
Yeah. They didn't put a picture in there, so you're going to tell me he's got a gorgeous sister, but we don't even get a picture. Work with me here, damn it!
Right? Well, let's see,
Yeah.
Let us decide. She's probably a dog, let's be real.
But he robbed several banks in Jacksonville before coming back down south. For revenge on his father, John decided that he wanted to assassinate Sheriff Baker after the November elections.
Okay.
So apparently, at this point, they do have elections now. But this makes strategic sense for them to do, because he's elected, then you assassinate him. They're going to have to leave some chump up there and everything. So it makes,
whoever the undersheriff is would take over, I would imagine.
Right. So that was pretty smart.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Watch that. Watch that sheriff be like freaking Rambo or something.
Yeah, right.
The replacement, the guy that the runner-up.
Yeah.
On November 1st, Stewart Police Chief Orrin Paget saw George Francis Mario, who was the husband of John Ashley's sister Lola, coming out of the grocery store. Mario motioned for Paget to come over and talk to him, and he told him that the gang was leaving for Jacksonville that night and would be using Mario's Model T.
Who wants to talk to me? It's a me.
It's a me, Mario!
Sorry.
No reason was given for his ratting out of the gang, although I just said that they would be using Mario's Model T. Yeah. That might be... Freaking asshole just came and stole my car!
Yeah. Now I gotta go through these fucking pipes to get to work. Ridiculous.
But Paget called Sheriff Baker, and he also called St. Lucie County Sheriff J.R. Merritt, and they came up with a plan. At this point, I-95 and the turnpike weren't there. There was US 1, and it was called Dixie Highway, and it still is called Dixie Highway today in certain places.
Right. I've heard of it. I've heard of that before.
Yeah, but it goes all the way from Miami all the way up to Maine. Actually, now it goes from from Key West all the way up to Maine.
Which one was this? They said this
US
is 90
1.
US 1. Okay, so I can't remember what the one I was thinking of. Is it like 95 that goes all the way up?
95
also,
does too, but it doesn't go as far south.
95 is the one that was a big like drug corridor, wasn't it? Or was that US 1?
It still is. Yes.
Yeah.
It starts in Miami. 95 does.
And then runs all the way up into like Boston.
No, it goes all the way up into Maine.
Oh yeah, it does. That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's when you go into Maine from New Hampshire, the first road you hit is 1 north.
But US 1 is it's kind of like Route 66. There's a lot of cool stuff to see along the way.
Oh yeah,
as you go.
I bet there's a ton of neat shit.
Yeah, there is. Even just in Florida, there is. I've only been on US 1 in Florida, and a little bit in South Carolina, and I think I've crossed it in other states because it goes out, and I think it even runs through Ohio at one point. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, it don't matter. We're just talking about a stretch of US 1 through here. Yeah, but so the plan. Ready for the plan?
Yes.
They're going to suspend a heavy chain across Dixie Highway at the south end of the Sebastian River Bridge, which is about 100 miles north of West Palm.
Oh God!
They're going to hang a red lantern from the center of the chain like a makeshift stoplight. Yeah. May have been the first stoplight for all I know, but maybe whoever invented I believe the person that invented the spotlight was, or the stoplight was a black man. I believe. I think I remember hearing that.
I don't know. I think there's a little bit of speculation there, as to who actually invented it and who was like marketing it or who worked on it or whatever. You know,
well, maybe whoever did heard the story and said, "Hey, I can expand on this." Sounds like a good business proposition.
Like, hold my beer. I'm going to change some things.
So Paget would be there with several deputies, and Merritt would be there with several of his deputies as well. But Sheriff Baker, for some reason, was not there, which is crazy to me because you'd think that he'd want to be there to catch his white whale. Right.
Yeah. And for Ahab to not be there is a little strange.
Right, exactly. I'm not going to do it, but y'all are going to do it. Sounds like a gang leader, actually.
Yeah, it really does.
Word reached Sheriff Merritt that Ashley and the 3 men had left Fort Pierce at about 8 p.m. Now, it's about 35 miles to Sebastian. And they're in that Model T, and at 10:30, a car came to the makeshift stoplight. The police approached the cars with sawed-off shotguns, but it wasn't the Ashleys.
Okay.
It was 2 guys named Ted Miller and Shadrick Davis. Seconds later, another car pulled up behind the first car, and this was the Ashleys. So here we go. Ready?
Yep.
The police stuck the shotguns into their faces before they had the chance to react. Now, in the car was John Ashley, Hanford Mobley, Clarence Middleton, and Ray Shorty Lynn, and they were all arrested And the officer then asked Davis if they would transport them across the bridge so that they could recover the police car. So can you imagine these guys? Chad Miller and Chadwick Davis, they're just sitting there minding their own business, maybe coming back from the bar or whatever. Next thing you know, they have to put public enemy number one in Florida into their car and just drive them across the bridge.
Yeah, you're getting shanghaied by the cops to
they had one hell of a story to tell after that.
Yeah. Why were you late for work? You're never gonna believe me.
Yeah, y'all ain't gonna believe this shit.
No, not even a little bit.
Miller and Davis did that, and the Ashleys were taken to the Fort Pierce jail. And later, Miller and Davis would say that they noticed that John Ashley was handcuffed by himself, but the other three men were handcuffed together.
Yeah. I wonder if he's going to try to conveniently escape and get shot in the back of a cop car. Or a civilian car, I guess, in this situation.
The official word was that the four handcuffed men made a move against the police and that shooting them dead on the spot was self-defense.
Yeah, of course it was.
Now, in the 50s, a college professor learned the true story at the demise from a deputy who was on the scene. The gang was executed in cold blood.
No.
Really?
They wouldn't do that, would they?
Nah. But it was...
Corrupt police killing people? No.
Yeah.
That's never happened again since then.
Never. It was official at this point. The sheriff knew that the Fort Pierce jail wouldn't hold all four men, so they weren't going to take any chances on them, so they just, offed them. They made a move for me! I was afraid for my life!
He was coming right for my gun.
Yeah. With his hands handcuffed behind his back.
Sheriff, I have information about the Clintons. Kill this man.
Yeah, I can see that rationale. I mean, I wanted there to be a blaze of glory shootout between the Ashleys and the police, and I wanted Baker involved too.
Yeah.
I wanted him there instead of cowering behind a desk.
But if he's not there, he can't be held accountable for the actions of his men.
Plausible deniability.
Yep. And it's not like he's like, hey, listen, if you just so happen to accidentally kill this piece of shit, just let me know, because it'd be great if that happened, you know?
Right. Well, the story ain't over. The bodies were displayed in front of Wilfie's Hardware and Mortuary in Fort Pierce.
What a combination. Hardware mortuary. Golly.
But now it's a design business, and the Bank of Stewart is now the Ashley Restaurant. And I'm going to take a ADD break here.
Look at the menu.
I think the Ashley Restaurant's been closed down. Okay, so the Ashley Restaurant, it was named after the Ashleys, but it's since been closed.
God damn it! Probably COVID.
But the bodies were put on display there. Somebody actually ran up and snatched John's glass eye out and gave it to Sheriff Baker.
Oh, he should have done it himself.
Yeah, right.
Coward.
When Laura Upthegrove heard about that, she sent a message to Baker saying, "If you don't give back that eye, I'll crawl through hell on my hands and knees to kill you."
Ew.
And now Baker gets involved. The last known member of the Ashleys was Haywood Register, and he was killed in a shootout with Baker and his two deputies. Now, this is kind of the be-all, end-all shootout that we wanted, but it's just not with John.
Right.
But this was...
With like a lesser...
Yeah. Yeah. This was January 29th of 1929 along the Boynton Canal after he, too, had escaped from Rayford Prison. Rayford Prison...
Almost like they let him escape intentionally.
Rayford Prison, by the way, is Florida's state penitentiary.
Very secure, sounds like.
That's where Old Sparky is. That's where Ted Bundy, Danny Rolling, Eileen Warnos, and a host of other pieces of shit were put down, so they obviously eventually got their shit together.
It only took them like 30 years. That's fine.
I mentioned the good Ashley brother Bill. He wanted nothing to do with the gang. But in 1932, he was out boating with Francis Mario. Remember him, the rat?
Yep.
And the boat capsized. George drowned, but Bill made it to shore.
All right.
That whole scene right there made me think of the scene in Godfather 2 where Al, Neri, and Fredo were out on the boat.
I loved you, Fredo.
So yeah. Anyway, Bill Ashley died in 1940. Laura Upthegrove was heartbroken about the death of John, obviously, and she was in and out of jail for various charges. She was bootlegging, but at this point, she owned a gas station. August 19th of 1926, she got into a heated argument with somebody. Somebody claimed that she had sold them bad booze.
Oh, no.
The guy wanted a refund, and she got mad at him and chased him out of the store with a gun. And then she grabbed a bottle of what she thought was gin, and she chugged it.
Oh, no.
It wasn't gin.
What, alcohol?
No. It was Lysol.
Oh, damn it. I was hoping she was going to Michael Malloy herself. That would have been funny as shit.
But she died, and Laura's own mother, she was on the scene, and ironically, so was Elisa Pageant. She was the sister of the Stewart police officer Orrin Pageant, and she just happened to be there. And she's begging Laura's mom to call the doctor. And Laura's own mother says, nah, she's better off this way.
Jesus Christ. Nope, ain't nothing we can do for her now.
Nope. But still, I mean, it's like after one chug of it, you're going to notice that it's not alcohol, unless that's why I said she was probably already drunk.
Yeah, to
because
drink enough Clorox to kill yourself, you have to be pretty well pickled at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like once you get to the point where you're drunk, you'll drink anything anybody hands you.
Oh, for sure.
So.
No, I've never done that before. What am I talking about?
Yeah, me either. So the Ashley's mother, Regina Clay, she survived the death of all of her sons, and she herself died in 1946 at age 84.
Jeez.
There's lots of artifacts at the Elliott Museum in Stewart, and I actually went there as a kid. Okay. So that's the story of the Ashley gang, the John Ashley gang. Did you like it?
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, I like that.
We don't often get to have fun through an entire episode when we do stuff together, Bill.
No.
It's usually like, oh, we're going to have fun and pick on somebody, and then horrible shit happens.
Yeah,
This time it's like, it was horrible shit, but it was bank robbers, and that's always more fun than listening to somebody, like, dismember a child, at least.
When I was looking for information on the Ashley restaurant, apparently there was a movie made in Stewart about the Ashley gang.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. It's on a Facebook post that popped up, and the only thing that is just showing. It's just people talking. Oh, okay, here it is. Little Laura and Big John.
Oh God.
Little Laura and Big John. It's a 1973 movie about the exploits of the Ash Gang in the Florida Everglades, loosely based on a true story about Laura Upthegrove and John Ashley. Laura's mother, Emma Upthegrove, tells the story of her daughter, John Ashley, and John goes into a life of crime after he accidentally shoots a Seminole DeSoto tiger. Acts purposely, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Wikipedia page specifies in December 1929, not according to my notes, but must have I don't know, but it says that Ashley murdered DeSoto Tiger.
I mean, yeah, I think we can kind of agree that There was nothing accidental about that.
The body was, this is interesting, the body was discovered by a crew building the Hoover Dike around Lake Okeechobee. I know exactly where that is, and that canal that I mentioned runs right next to that dike, yeah. A few days later, Ashley sold Tiger's otter furs in Miami. In one of the first instances of a jury of whites convicting a white for the murder of an Indian, Ashley was convicted for the murder, but was repeatedly allowed to escape custody, whereupon began his life of crime. Although he spent time in jail for many other crimes, he never served a day for the murder of DeSoto Tiger.
Which is wild.
It is. I'm gonna have to watch that. I want to watch that movie. Let's see who starred in it. Fabian Forte, Karen Black, and Paul Gleason. I don't know who any of those people are.
Karen Black, if I remember correctly, I'm surprised that I remember this. I'm pretty sure she played Mother Firefly in House with Devil's Rejects.
Oh, okay. Ross Kananga is DeSoto Tiger.
That's a last name you really got to stick the landing on so you don't get...
Yeah. Anyway, apparently the glass eye is at that Elliott Museum.
Now, did this guy ever actually turn it into a watch face or no?
To what?
Did he actually get a chance to turn it into a watch face like he was talking about?
No, well, it didn't say.
Oh, damn it.
So, but yeah, no, fun one. I'm glad I got to redo this one. So
yeah. Like I said, it was fun for once to not be like, oh, and then this is going to be not fun for a while. You know, this is good. Yeah. I liked it.
So anyway, thanks a lot for listening. We appreciate the hell out of it, and hopefully, very soon we'll have the surprise that we're working on for you. Hopefully, and
we got to stop talking about it, and it'll happen.
Right. Okay, so that means it's got to happen at least once more so we can stop talking about it.
Yeah, right.
Damn it. So, like, subscribe, listen, share, blah, 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 leave comments and everything. Do that on History Goons.
Yes.
History Goons social media and podcast and all that stuff because it's an awesome podcast. And do it on CKCB as well because I like you guys. I really do. I really like you guys. The fact that you guys spend, an hour or two a week listening to me run my yap and everything, it's awesome. And as usual, if you like us, tell a friend. If you hate us, tell an enemy. And until next week, later.
Love you. Bye.